What's up? We just recorded the Snelling Road Race. Video will be on the channel. And we're like, dude, it's raining outside. Let's just hop on a Zwift race. Dylan's never done a Zwift race.
Never been on Zwift. Let's give this a shot.
Wish us luck. Welcome back, Dylan. How's Zwift?
It's hard.
It's hard, right?
It sure is.
We're like 5 minutes after finishing this Zwift race. And I just wanted to get your take on Zwift and what you think. I can't believe it's taking you this long.
Yeah, no, I got the privilege of getting to ride outside most of the time, so take advantage of that.
It is nice. It is rare for a rainy day to strike here in California, but today's that day. And we just hopped in to this A race. Pretty flat. It's got a couple of rollers. Right off the bat, what was your impression? I noticed you were doing this like yo-yo thing.
Yeah, there was definitely a learning curve trying to figure out like maybe the physics of the game. Like, you can't just sit in a draft like a normal race. Like, you're either rolling out the back, or if you try and accelerate and get back on, you're just going off the front. So
I saw you stop pedaling into a corner. I'm not even kidding, guys.
Yeah, if I was on rollers, I would have crashed. I would have ridden off the rollers.
Yeah, there's no coasting in Zwift. There's no soft pedaling through corners. There's no leaning your bike. I saw you trying that one too.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work on there.
And also, so this, what you're seeing on the screen now, this is Dylan's perspective. And the reason all of his like metrics are red, obviously, guys, because he just started an account. He didn't update his FTP. It thought you were doing the craziest effort you've done in your entire life.
Yep. Yeah, I thought it was pinned.
Dylan's really strong. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. What did you put for your weight in Zwift?
I put my weight at 180, which is about where I'm sitting right now.
Honesty. I like that. It's rare sometimes in Zwift. And then your FTP, you didn't touch it, but it thinks that you have like 150 watt FTP. In reality, it's
370-ish.
370-ish. It's a lot of power, guys. Lots of power, especially for a sprinty boy. Max power?
Recently, I set a new max power of 1869.
Let's go, my teammate. Let's go. It's different on a stationary bike, though.
Yeah, no, you can't hit that.
Not
even close.
We're going to talk about that at the end of the race. But you are doing this yo-yo thing back and forth. And I remember this is like something that took me a long time to learn in Zwift. I am by no means an expert in it, but like your thoughts on like gauging this back and forth of like when to stop pedaling because your little avatar is going to shoot off the front of the group, when you need to get back on the gas, otherwise you're going to be off the back like you were seeing now.
Yeah, there's definitely like an
art to it, right?
Yeah, there sure is. Like the momentum doesn't change the same as when you're riding a bike. Like, It takes more time to accelerate, more time to slow down.
Exactly right. So you have this like road mentality, but in your first Zwift race, and you were pedaling for a little bit too long, you find yourself off the front less than ideal. Obviously, the idea here is to maximize the amount of time you spend in the draft. And at the end of this race, we're going to show you guys the average watts per kilogram, which is indicative of how efficient you are. Because just because you made the most power doesn't mean you win a race. Even in Zwift. This is true in outdoor racing and in Zwift. So anyway, that is what it looks like early on in this race. I did this silly thing early on, having some fun, because one of the guys in the race was like, is that Jeff Linder NorCal Cycling? And I was like, attack mode. It went nowhere. But we wanted to have a little bit of fun and see if we could do some team tactics in Zwift. So that really didn't happen. I stitched a couple gaps up here and there, but that really didn't happen until the last couple kilometers of this race. Let's fast forward there.
Yeah.
2.6 Ks to go. And we're going to hit our last... we're going to get our last opportunity for a power-up here. This is your first experience with power-ups, too. This was funny. Dylan's like, what's the truck mean? Which I'd like, fair, like he'd never done Zwift Race before. I remember having the same thoughts. I was like, oh, that's the drafty boy. I know a little bit about Zwift. There's still some power-ups that I never see. But in any case, I was like, dude, let's pray to the cycling Zwift gods that you get the aero power-up, because that's the best for sprinting. And guess what you got?
That's the one I got.
Let's go. Your first ever aero power up. And I got the leaf, the featherweight power up, which is lightweight. I think it just takes some of your weight off. So it makes
watts per kilo.
Yeah. So it makes you climb a little bit better. We have this one little bump that you can see in the profile left between us and the finish line. And by the way, that was a little deceiving, right?
Yeah, the 10.2K in the top right is not the finish.
I was convinced. I was like, dude, hey, like save a little bit. We have 10 kilometers left. You're like, I think we have 1.8 kilometers left, boss. Yeah. So anyway, I was like, okay, hang tight. I'm going to do an effort over this climb to string things out. It's not long enough to do serious damage to Dylan. I know Dylan's got the horses. He's got the watts to not get dropped on this climb. I just want to neutralize anything that happens. So that's what I'm doing. But there's so little chaos behind. There's some gaps opening up behind, which probably less than ideal if I'm trying to lead up my sprinter. And I like how your avatar is like out of the saddle smashing here because it thinks that you're doing this like sprint effort. But you still have your max heart rate is, would you say, like 190?
Yeah, mid 190s.
So you're still very much in control.
Yeah, I got some headspace over me.
Which is good. And I am doing as promised. There goes my featherweight power up. We made it over the top of the climb. And now I'm like, okay, well, we have 1.2 kilometers to go. I'm doing lead out duty for Dylan. This is pretty early to take up a lead out, but I just want to make it fast to prevent any significant attacks from going over the top. That's my role right now. You're in good position coming back down the hill, still in the draft. Mm-hmm. You're just like, this is your first race.
This is where I sat up. You can see the watts drop for the turn.
Yep.
Don't need to do that in Zwift.
Yeah, he had his right leg up so he doesn't drag a pedal on his trainer. But now you find yourself on the front, and meanwhile over on my screen, dude attacks. And I'm like, okay, go for it. 900 meters to go. It's coming back. So I slow and steady into this effort. I'm doing 7, maybe 8 watts per kilo. The guy up the road is doing 10. And I'm like, this is unsustainable, right? But in any case, still, we have a lot of time left. You're still positioning yourself for the sprint.
Yeah, I'm trying to sit in, but nobody's really wanting to do work, so I'm kind of just trying to figure out what to do.
And it comes back to this part of like you not really understanding Zwift dynamics are much different than in real life dynamics. So you end up spending a lot more time out in the wind like you are now than you should have. And my work is done. The guy up the road is still doing 10 watts per kg. He still had about a 1 or 2 second gap. And you just open up your sprint. You use the aero boost at the perfect time. But this guy up the front just did a monster effort. Like, I think we found out he was doing something close to, 8.5 watts per kilo for the last 30 seconds, which is a lot of power.
Yeah, he did 5 watts per kilo for the whole 37 minutes, which that's pretty gnarly.
That's pretty gnarly. Calls into question how legit it is. But in any case, I think that for your first Zwift race, this was fantastic. 4.4. Okay, so this comes back to the conversation we had. I did 4 watts per kilogram, and I fell on the sword for you there at the end. You did 4.4.
Yeah, it might have been some of my little yo-yoing. Definitely not the most efficient.
Some of the yo-yoing, which I think you're going to figure out. So we thought it'd be kind of fun. There's a lot of rain on the forecast to get the boys out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we got to...
Dude, Andrew would annihilate.
Get Andrew out here, get Brad out here.
So if you want to see the boys in the garage, smash some Zwift racing on a rainy day, keep the motivation high, get subbed. And Dylan, you're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna.
I think so.
We're gonna bag some Zwift wins.
They're pretty fun. This is the most engaging 37 minutes I've ever had on a trainer.
Let's go. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.